What's up, YouTube? How's everybody doing today? Me, I'm doing great. Hopefully this video comes out before what I'm talking about is going to come out, because it's going to be better that way, I think. But I know you guys don't know. Obviously you weren't there. If you were in the Discord, maybe you'd have an idea of what happened, but you guys don't seem to want to join that. But there was a secret phone call, guys. Super secret, right? It was between two people. It was between two people. I heard that phone call. Timmy, I heard that phone call. I have some shit to say about it. So, Gentry made a live feed, 2 live feeds because his camera died. But he made a live feed yesterday, and he said some things in that live feed that were kind of contradicted by what I heard in the phone call. So I wanted to kind of talk about that. So for those of you who don't know, and maybe the audio will come out, maybe it won't. I have access to it, but it's not my audio, so it's not my place to put it out, right? I'm not taking credit for it. I had the privilege of listening to it. So, Gentry and Elite had a phone conversation, and Gentry kind of spilled his guts a little bit, right? He had an opportunity to sway hearts and minds, right? Tell his side of the story, clear all this shit up, right? Things would be different, right? Well, from where I'm sitting, it doesn't look like he actually took that opportunity seriously, right? He just bullshitted one way and then bullshitted another way. So in the call with Elite, he kind of spilled a lot of things. He did admit to cheating, not with the woman that Elite had started talking to. He did kind of clear her, but he did admit to there being another one, just based from the audio. And obviously this is words, right? Like, we can't trust words. One thing I thought was funny about the phone call is that he's talking about how, there's rumors here and there about him and Crystal, and everything is not the way it seems. But she was in the background while he was on the phone. He wasn't at home with his wife dispelling the rumors. He was sitting with Crystal Miller dispelling the rumors, right? And Crystal said some shit too that I thought was funny, because she says she's never been married, yet I put out a video with fucking court records of a divorce. So, I don't know. Was it another Crystal Miller who owns a trucking company and also lives in Wisconsin? I mean, could be, right? There could be another Crystal Miller who owns a trucking company and lives in Wisconsin. I don't know, right? She hasn't put out any information to the contrary, right? She could put out any number of things that could disprove what I said, and obviously they're not happy about it because they talked about the video in the phone call, even though it was kind of like very, very minor, right? It wasn't like a major part of the phone call, but they did bring it up. And she could have said anything. She could have just done a video and been like, hey, here's Mike. Why would I be with Gentry if I'm with Mike? Didn't do it, right? Could have said, no, that's not my name. My name is actually this way, or that's not the right date of birth. Any number of things, right, to dispel it, right? And it's not that they don't care, because they're talking about it, right? They said it's upsetting to them. So, from where I'm sitting, it looks like they can't disprove anything that's been said, right? Obviously, there's still the shadow of the doubt, right? Because they're denying it. But there's more evidence to prove what, is being said by, people that are critical of them, versus evidence that the people that are critical are wrong. So, I don't know. It just, that call did not dispel anything. It just made me more suspicious. Right? So, and then, he did a sob story about how Crystal, she's not going to do her YouTube anymore because of all of this bullshit. Well, she still has a YouTube channel. That guy, Drew, I think his name is, he's one of Gentry's fucking moderators. He shared a link to it, right? She's got a fucking TikTok. She's got a Facebook. for her company, right? She's still on social media, so that was bullshit, right? What was that? Oh, and then his son, right? He's so obsessed about his son being mentioned on camera, right? He's innocent, he's not part of this, yada, yada, yada. He told Elite in the phone call that, you know, Braxton, his son, is quote unquote mature for his age and he watches everything, right? He's watching everything. But he said before that he can't watch YouTube because of all this negativity. But then he told Elite, oh, he watches everything. He's mature for his age. He can handle it. Then in his last live feed, he says, oh, he can't do it anymore. He can't be on YouTube anymore. 2 fucking days ago, he posted on his YouTube channel. Yes, he has his own YouTube channel. And again, Drew, whoever that guy is, one of fucking Gentry's moderators, posted a link to Braxton's channel in the chat of the live feed that Gentry was saying Braxton couldn't be on YouTube in. The fuck? That doesn't make sense, right? And then he took it a step further. He says, oh, my wife, and he's talking about Ashley, not his new wife, Crystal. And he did admit to going through the divorce and everything. So, I mean, that was brought up. He said his marriage was rocky, you know, that he wasn't sure if it was going to last. I mean, it was a lot of shit, guys. I hope that call comes out because you guys need to hear it. And this was all before any of this drama shit came out, right? But in the live feed that he did last night, he tried to make it seem like the YouTube shit was the reason his marriage was rocky. But he told Elite it was rocky already, right? So this is just more bullshit lies. But as far as his wife goes, he said she's a very private person. She's a very private person. Well, then why does she have 2 fucking Facebook profiles, 2 fucking YouTube profiles, 2 fucking Instagram profiles, 2 fucking TikTok profiles, right? She has her own, and then she has Gentry Acres. She has a fucking blog. She has a website that sells merchandise. She's not fucking private. She's all over the goddamn fucking internet. And she's posting pictures of everything in your private life. She's not posting pictures of semi-trucks and business deals. She's posting pictures of your kids, your house, fucking family members, all kinds of shit. And it's all public. She has almost 3,500 subscribers on multiple different platforms. She's got 20-something, 30,000-something subscribers across all of her fucking platforms. She's not private. She is public as a motherfucker, right? So that's another bullshit lie that he tried to spin, right? The hearts and minds tugging at the heartstrings, right? Then he proceeds to tell this sob story about how he's having panic attacks, right? He's having panic attacks and has to be on medication, right? So he's medicated out like fucking, what's his name? Trucker's Coach, basically. Look how fucked up Trucker's Coach is, right? I'm not Narc, right? I'm not codename Narc. I'm not going to get on the Trucker's Coach bandwagon, but he's going to end up like him, all pilled out because of all of his panic attacks and anxiety, right? And he said in that fucking phone call, he said in his live feed, right, he doesn't want to talk about this. It's nobody's business, da, da, da. But then he says he's being forced to make a video about it. Why didn't you just fucking talk about it yesterday? Right? Now you just look more stupid, more suspicious. Right? The whole thing is horseshit. And then, and then he threatened the lawyers again, right? Not directly. He wasn't like, I'm gonna sue you. He just kind of, it was like that, like the weight of a threat kind of hanging in the air, like, I don't want to have to get lawyers. I don't want to have to get lawyers. But then people in his own chat are like, well, you're on YouTube and, you know, it is what it is. Just ignore it. But he can't ignore it. His pride won't let him ignore it. He needs to be seen in a positive light. He doesn't want any negativity, right? He could ignore all of us. My channel has 200-something subscribers. Why the fuck would he care? Right? Either his ego is so large he can't let it go, or the shit is so close to being true, or it is true, that he has to try to get ahead of it, even though I only have 200 something subscribers, right? You know, our heaviest hitting like person on this side is Tommy, probably, Trucking Unfiltered. He doesn't say half the shit that some of us say, and he gets maybe a couple thousand views, right? Is it a lot of people? Yeah. But it's also not, you know, so many people that it's going to destroy Tim Gentry's channel. He said in the video the other day that he was making like up to $40,000 a month off of YouTube. You're making 40 grand a month off of YouTube and you're unhappy about YouTube? That sounds like a personal fucking problem. You can shit all over me all you want if I was making $40,000 a month on fucking YouTube alone, on top of anything I could make off of trucking, which he claimed was a lot. He said in one boat move he could make 3 months of YouTube money. What do you have to complain about, dude? You look real miserable, and you got a lot of fucking sob stories for somebody who's making that much money, right? And it has that much shit going on. You're working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, your words, not mine, but you got time to be in a live feed trying to defend a cheating scandal that is supposed to not be real at fucking midnight? Make that make sense, dude. That doesn't fucking make sense at all, and I hope nobody else thinks it does, right? And there was something else too. This is what sucks about this, is there's so much shit, it's like hard to keep track of it all. But it'll come to me. I'm just gonna stay on my current fucking path here. But the guy is, he's full of shit, is basically the crux of all of this, because he goes on a phone call, spills this bullshit story, and then goes on a live feed and contradicts almost everything he said in the fucking story. And then he keeps dangling the carrot about how he's just going to do a tell-all, and then never fucking does it, right? He spent like 2.5 hours live yesterday talking about how he was going to tell us everything, when he could have just spent that 2.5 hours fucking telling us everything. Right? You're working 24/7, you're just so fucking busy, but you got 2.5 hours to sit around and feel sorry for yourself, right? Seems like you got some time, dude. If you got time for that, I don't know, right? Usually when I'm busy, I don't have time to sit around feeling sorry for myself. I got to get to work. So that doesn't make sense to me. Oh, the Chris thing. So he kind of threatened Chris a little bit in that phone call with Elite. Not directly, but again, it was like hanging in the air, like the threat of it. He said, if Chris says anything, who would want to work with him? Who was going to hire him? He wouldn't be able to get a job because no one would want to work with him. It's kind of like an unspoken threat. Like, if you say anything, we'll blackball you and you won't be able to get a job because no one wants to work with you. Right? That's kind of what it came across as to me. Same thing with the, I don't want to get a lawyer. Like, fuck off, dude. You're making $40,000 a month. $20,000 to $40,000 a month off of YouTube with all your sponsors and shit. Supposedly you can make triple that on one boat move. You're just packed all the way to the brim. There's no room left for you to do anything extra because you're so fucking busy with all of your shit going on, yet you're on here crying. You're a fucking liar, dude. You are so full of shit. And then he says about the fucking fire, right? He says, I didn't get any insurance money for that. I didn't get anything for that. I paid out of pocket for that. What about that $55,000 fundraiser? Huh? You forget about that? Was that out of pocket? You consider your donators, your subscribers, that's your pocket too? Their money's also your pocket? I spent more money than I could ever recover in North Carolina. What about that $56,000 fundraiser? Did you forget about that one? I think you did. But, oh, and then on Facebook you posted that your business wasn't making money. Right? So you say now you're making $40,000 a month on YouTube, triple that on a boat move, but your business isn't making money, you're losing money. This guy's all over the place, right? We just recently found out that GW Bowles might be on that meth, and he acted like this, just back and forth all over the place, right? Gentry says he needs to be medicated to sleep and not have panic attacks. What is he on? That's making him so unstable and all over the place, right? I'm not saying he is. It definitely seems suspicious. I don't know, guys. Something's off here. And again, I hope that fucking phone call gets released. Some shit was said in there that you could listen to and then compare to what he says in his videos, and you'll see it immediately that he's full of crap. He's telling one person one thing and then saying the opposite. I don't know, guys. But that's what I have for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. There's still probably more coming. I thought this was going to be over. I was a little disappointed. I was like, oh, Gentry's just going to spill the beans. There'll be nothing left to talk about. Nope. It's still the same bullshit. So here we go again. But anyway, guys, we'll see you in the next one.